Frankie Luvu got in a fight with Dan Quinn? And a new bombshell article details how the Chicago Bears want Caleb Williams to be more like Jayden Daniels. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Full Command Show. My name is Grant Mitchell, and we're here to talk about everything involving the Washington Commanders. We are less than 24 hours away from the first kickoff of the 2025 season for the boys in Burgundy and Gold. They will be hosting the New York Giants at Northwest Stadium out in Landover, Maryland tomorrow at 1 o'clock afternoon. Looking to be sunny skies, about 70-something degrees, perfect game weather, unless I've completely botched that weather report and it has changed or my memory has just gone to crap. But I'm hoping for a very nice day. I'm hoping for a good showing, as we all are. Look, it's going to be tough, obviously. There are some very impressive players on the Giants side of the football. We're going to talk about my key points, my key players, key battles to watch in that game. But we're going to do that at the end of this video because we got some really important notes to hit on first. As I mentioned, Dan Quinn and Frankie Luvu coming to the fisticuffs. And Caleb Williams, what is another crazy article saying about him? We got all the details coming up in this video, guys. So make sure you do smash that like button. As always, I'm coming out with daily content. I am going to be trying to vlog a little bit at the game tomorrow. Whether or not it's enough content to make its own full video or you're just going to get bits and pieces put into a regular video remains to be seen, but you will be getting some footage from there. Hopefully, I'm going to try really hard to get some stuff of the Santana Moss halftime Ring of Honor ceremony. I think that would be pretty cool. Whatever you can do to help me out, guys, I would deeply appreciate it. We are over 2,200 subscribers. I didn't even think I would get to 100 by the time the season started when I made this channel 2 months ago. So you guys have been so incredible to me, and I'm hoping that I'm able to at least somewhat return the favor to you guys. So let's go ahead and let's jump into the story here. So Dan Quinn was speaking to the media the other day, and he shared a very interesting story about leadership. And I'm going to give you a spoiler here. The fight was not real. But here's what Dan Quinn had to say about him and Frankie Luvu. So essentially, DQ wanted to teach a lesson about leadership and holding people accountable and keeping the locker room unified. So he calls up Frankie Luvu and says, hey, my guy, we're going to get in a fake fight. I'm going to chew you out. You got to take it very negatively. Get up in my face. And they start pushing each other around. DQ's, grabbing him up by the collar. Frankie Luvu's pushing him off him. Dan Quinn's not a small man. He's a shot put hammer thrower in college. He's got this massive chest, but Frankie Luvu's a tough, wild dude. And, they're getting up in each other's face. And overall, Dan Quinn said the thing that he was most disappointed by was there were not enough people who rushed to separate the two of them. Now, this is not saying anything like the Commanders don't have a strong culture. We know that's obviously not the case. But I thought it was such an interesting way to teach a lesson about togetherness. And it's just another example of how the coaching staff is preparing the players and the team for the trials and tribulations that will come. And although this team and this franchise have only just started this reconfiguration sort of turnaround, you think about the things that they have been through together. Obviously, the team was in an awful place. They've changed names 2 times recently. They've changed ownership. They go from 4-13 in Josh Harris's first season to getting Jayden Daniels, and they go 12-5. And Jayden gets injured, and McLaurin has his contract hold out. And you have big playoff wins, big playoff losses. Cliff Kingsbury was trying to get poached by other teams. You had trades happen, a lot of free agent signings. There's a lot of things that have just shaped this locker room in such a short period of time. And while this is an extreme example, and I don't think Dan Quinn would have done this if he wasn't confident enough in the infrastructure that he had already built for this team. But to use this as another teachable moment, it just shows me again how prepared the team is going to be for whatever comes their way this season. They had the 3-game losing streak last year, which they talked about really shaped them. And it's, again, one final time, it's a testament to where the team is headed, the direction they're headed in with smart people in charge, whether that be Adam Peters, Dan Quinn, Cliff Kingsbury, Joe Witt Jr., the position coaches. They got some really good ones. And I thought it was pretty awesome just to hear him say that. And shout out to Frankie Luvu for buying into it. I don't know that I would sign up to get in a fake fight with Frankie Luvu or Dan Quinn for that matter. Again, Dan Quinn's no small guy. You see that chest on him. He might be able to push you around, might be able to move some furniture. So shout out to those guys. Now let's talk about this Caleb Williams bombshell article here. This was remarkable, and it comes in 3 different parts. So I'm going to try my best not to spoil too much of it. I want you guys to actually go check it out because it is phenomenally written. There are some hidden details that you're probably not going to get from other reporters anywhere, and definitely please go check it out. This article is by Tyler Dunne of Go Long, which is a website a podcast, and a YouTube channel. So basically any platform you're looking for it on, Tyler Dunne of Go Long, you should be able to find it. So the story, I don't know exactly where it starts. I'm just going to pick it up from a point in the season where the Bears have already fired offensive coordinator Shane Waldron. So Thomas Brown is now the guy who's on the headset talking to Caleb Williams. It's a Thursday night football game against the Seattle Seahawks. This game ended 6-3 in favor of the Seahawks. I believe that was the final score. I know in the article it mentioned the score was 63. I think that was the final score. But basically, Thomas Brown was trying to explain something to Caleb during the game. Caleb turned his back on him and walked out onto the field. Brown gets on the headset and says, quote, "Get your ass back here right now. Don't you effing walk away when I'm talking to you." What did Caleb Williams do? He didn't even pay him any peace of mind. Continue to walk out onto that field, go back into the huddle like nothing ever happened. According to the article, that was kind of the moment that everything started to fall apart officially for the Chicago Bears. They realized we are in hellstorm right now, and we don't see a way out of it. There were a lot of negative points that were raised about just what Caleb Williams' tenure has been like so far with the Chicago Bears. The team at one point had to revert to a ready, set, go cadence to snap the ball. That's what you get in Pop Warner. Apparently, the colors and numbers was too complex for Caleb Williams. This is not my reporting, so if there are Bears fans here, this is per Tyler Dunne of Go Long, and I'm not saying that he's right or wrong. This is just the report that he's put out there. Also, during team meetings, the coaches, general manager, whoever, the decision makers, the hierarchy would look at Caleb's playbook and he would be on the wrong page for whatever they were talking about during their team meetings. Obviously, he was not paying attention. He would also call out plays incorrectly, which would lead to players lining up in the wrong spots and the wrong formation for a play, illegal procedure penalties, false starts, delay of games, and just overall, that's why sometimes the Bears offense could look like a well-oiled machine and other times they couldn't get 10 yards. Even in that Bears game, which was the Hail Mary game against the Commanders, although the Bears did take the lead late, which was the Commanders were dominating that game and they just didn't convert their opportunities. But the Bears offense was horrid for the first 3.5 quarters until they got that final score. And I would imagine that was a bit of a byproduct of what this report is talking about right here. Also, this is according to a scout from a different team who said when plays were called in, Caleb would stare at his wristband for a very long time like it was in another language. Just the total opposite experience of what we experienced here in DC with Jayden Daniels. And I'm going to wrap this back up. I'm going to talk about why I'm talking about this particular article in this video here, because Jayden does pop up in it. During draft evaluations, the Bears basically from the very start, they had zeroed in on Caleb Williams. They said he is going to be the guy. They laughed Drake May out of the room when they watched this film. They nitpicked. They said, that's a dirt ball. That's a giveaway. They just gave him no chance. They barely thought Jayden Daniels was any better than Drake May. This is a direct quote here from one scout. He says, the quarterback process, I would not even call it a process. This is a Bears scout, by the way. The Caleb Williams draft pick was the most embarrassing lack of a process, a fair, impartial process to scouting that I've ever seen in my life. There wasn't any type of actual comparison on a fair slate to which quarterback was actually better. Lo and behold, we saw how that turned out. Jayden Daniels, 1 vote shy of the Offensive Rookie of the Year. And Drake May, Caleb had fine numbers in terms of yards, got to 3,500, I believe, a nice touchdown to interception ratio, but his actual effectiveness, the actual big playability combined with some of the boneheaded stuff, the mistakes, you could very easily argue that Drake May was better than him. Bo Nix was better than him, and I'm not a Bo Nix guy by any stretch of the imagination. I'm a lot lower on him than most people. I think you're going to see why pretty soon, but I am also open to being proven wrong on that. J.J. McCarthy, we didn't get to see him play. Michael Penix came out later in the year, didn't get to see a bunch of work from him. But point being, Caleb Williams, a guy who was looked at as the next Mahomes, that's what everybody was calling him. He was not one of the 2 or 3 best quarterbacks in his own draft class as a rookie. So now let me talk about why I bring this up, because I said Jayden Daniels was going to be mentioned, and here he comes. So Ryan Poles, the Chicago Bears GM, said that he heard Jayden Daniels was using VR headsets as a way to get extra reps. Mental reps where you're not actually going through the actual physical motion with players on the field, but you're seeing how things develop. We know Jayden speeds it up to like double, triple speed so he can go through his progressions even quicker. Ryan Poles heard that Jayden Daniels was finding a lot of success with this, and he thought it was credited, or it should be credited to why Jayden was doing things like winning the Heisman. So it was a discussion. Why don't we make Caleb Williams use this? Why don't we buy this? Well, the Bears ultimately did not purchase the VR headsets because they couldn't justify the cost, because they did not believe that Caleb Williams would use it. Now, the article goes into the details of how that compares and contrasts with what working with Jayden Daniels is like. And that's where you get some more information about what is going on at the practice field out in Ashburn. He said there are situations in which Cliff Kingsbury will purposefully call out the play incorrectly during walkthroughs to see if Jayden will catch it and how he will adjust it. He said that ultimately, he being the author said that ultimately Jayden doesn't even bat an eye. He doesn't even say, hey, Cliff, you called the play wrong. He hears the incorrect play call, corrects it himself, relays it to the team. Everybody gets in the right position. Everybody runs the right play. That's the difference. That's the standard that Jayden has set compared to the first overall pick, who, although, he won a Heisman himself too, but Jayden won it more recently than Caleb did. They didn't even consider Jayden. They didn't even consider Drake May or Bo Nix or any of those other players. They had said, no, Caleb is our guy. Ultimately, the article ends with one NFC scout concluding that Caleb is the worst of the 6 quarterbacks that were taken in the first round, that being Caleb Williams, Jayden Daniels, Drake May, Bo Nix, J.J. McCarthy, and Michael Penix Jr. Now, could that be a little reactionary? Because, again, we haven't seen McCarthy at all, and we barely got to see Penix and May. We believe in the potential, but we didn't see it. I think it is reactionary. I think it is maybe jumping on the moment just a little bit. But if you're doing actual evaluations on these players right now, and you're looking back at J.J. McCarthy's Michigan tape versus Caleb's rookie tape in the NFL, you could say, hey, I see more here from McCarthy to believe he's successful than Caleb Williams. And obviously that's a bit unfair because college defenses are not NFL defenses, but still, we all know Caleb did not have the rookie season that he would have liked to have had, that any Chicago Bears coach or front office member or fan would have hoped for. And ultimately, it does seem as if the Bears are starting to regret their decision. And I'll tell you right now, we're talking about, we being Commanders fans, we're talking about Luke McCaffrey and Ben Sinnott and Johnny Newton. They got to perform this year. We're talking about 2nd and 3rd round picks who are receivers and tight ends and defensive tackle for the first overall draft pick in the entire NFL, a Heisman winner, the next Mahomes. If you get through this season with Ben Johnson, who is this genius offensive coordinator, with an upgraded offensive line, with a talented defense, we'll see how they actually play, but a talented defense, with talented receivers. You drafted Roma Dunze. I forget where exactly, but you drafted him with the top 10 pick. Darnell Wright was a top 10 pick. You go with Colston Loveland's a top 10 pick, the tight end out of Michigan. If you get to the end of the year and Caleb Williams does not have a good season, it's already time to start looking for a new quarterback in Chicago. Obviously, it depends on how bad it goes. So Will Levis here, yeah, he's gone. If he's average, then he'll be back for a 3rd season, I would imagine. But he is set up for success. And I understand this is the same conversation we had when Caleb was a rookie, right? We're like, there's never been a rookie quarterback who stepped into a better situation than Caleb Williams. And I'll cut him some slack because coaching matters and coaching was bad. But at the same time, if he's not buying into the coaching, if he's turning his back on the coaches who are trying to help teach him, if he's not paying attention during meetings, then bad coaching only goes so far. That's bad leadership. It's poor attention to detail. It's a poor work ethic. It's poor everything. So again, at the end of the season, there could be some very tough conversations that are had about Caleb Williams. Now let's flip the script and let's talk about what to look for in this New York Giants Washington Commanders game tomorrow, 1 p.m. So just some very quick notes, the big headliners that I'm going to be talking about. I put out my game preview, so if you want nuance, if you want more details, go check that out. I'm only going to spend like 20, 30 seconds on each point here. But the offensive line versus that Giants hellacious pass rush, specifically the right side of the line, Nick Allegretti, probably the weakest component of this offensive line, assuming he does get the start at right guard. If it's not him, it's Josh Connerly, and lo and behold, they're both on the right side next to each other. The Giants are going to try to target that. I got no doubt about it. So how do they hold up? We saw Josh against Abdul Carter in the Big Ten championship game. He did his part, but it's not just Abdul. It's Burns, it's Thibodeau, it's Lawrence, it's all those guys. So how do they do? Jordan McGee, does he get on the field? How can the Commanders utilize his speed? Do they go to 3 linebacker looks? How does he look next to Bobby Wagner or taking Bobby Wagner's spot while Wagner's getting a rest on the sideline? I'm going to be interested in that. The utilization of Deebo Samuel. Is it going to be jet sweeps? Is it going to be handoffs? Is it going to be screens? Is it going to be deep stuff, which you did a lot of during training camp? Is it going to be the intermediate stuff with Terry taking the top off? Whatever it is, I want to see it. Does Jalen Lane's vertical threat create space underneath? Jalen Lane, I'm not expecting him to be a big contributor the first month of the season. I'm just not. I think he'll have less than 10 catches in the first 4 games, maybe even fewer than that. That's not me saying that I don't believe in him. Okay, it's just the natural integration combined with Terry getting a lot of reps, Noah Brown getting a lot of reps, Deebo getting a lot of reps. and them just not being in 3 wide receiver sets all the time. There's not a ton of plays for Jaylen Lane. With that being said, when he is on the field, he's so fast that you have to honor him as a vertical threat. So can you stretch the defense? If it's a cover 2 shell, can you get the pole defender to back up, and all of a sudden you've got a 15-yard dig coming in behind, and that's a wide open pass? Do you, if it's a single high and you've got Jaylen Lane on a slot fade, does that drag the safety over? Now you've got Terry one-on-one on the opposite side. Just stuff like that. How does his gravity open up things for the other players on the field? I think that could be his biggest impact, even more so than what shows up on the box score. Winning the running downs and then the different pass rush combinations you see on third down. Von Miller, when is his utilization? When and where is Jacob Martin? Things like that. Torrance Armstrong, is he at the 3 technique on third down, bowling over the guard? All that stuff. I just want to see how they put the practice application, how they apply practice to the actual game. And then Amos and Lattimore, can they guard Malik Neighbors? How do they look being tested in man coverage pretty much the entire game, every third down? That's the type of stuff I want to see. But guys, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you do hit the like button as well. Go to the comment section, leave me your thoughts on the whole Caleb Williams situation and also what you are expecting from the game tomorrow. I'm gonna head on out of here. I appreciate all of you. Good luck tomorrow. If you're a Commanders fan or a fan of any other team, enjoy the games. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great day.
You would be